Well, I think it's time to say goodbye to fall and hello, Christmas. Welcome back to Planting Life Matters. This is our Christmas edition, and I thought I would share a few photos with you from the front garden before I take you to the back. You know, in my previous video, I was worried about, can I fit this blue door with any red? I love red. I love traditional colors. I hope I was able to pull it off. I thought I was going to skip the red this year, which I normally do, but I couldn't help it. I incorporated it back into my front garden theme to try to match my blue door that I painted earlier this spring. I think I pulled it off, but I'm sure you guys will let me know if I didn't. So, hey, that's me. Lots of mirrors in the garden. And then we switch over to the back where we're prepping for our full tour. So get ready, guys. We're going to show you some really fun things. I'm going to do a daytime tour with you to give you an idea on how some of the things are going with the plants in the garden. And then we'll kind of switch over to our full tour. Let's get started. Oh, wait. First, who is that? What is that noise? Silent night. Holy. Oh, my bad. What's up, y'all? Merry Christmas. It's starting to look a lot like Christmas. So welcome to somewhat, not quite dark yet, right at dusk. I thought I'd show you the front garden before we make our way to the back. That's my nativity that I set up for the last, I think this is my third season. I bought a few pieces at a time over the last couple of years. And just wanted to share with you me bringing that red back in. I thought I was going to do away with. Nothing wrong with red. I love red. I was just trying to play off of my blue door this year. So I ended up using red and blue after all and just left it. So here's the night view of everything lit up in the front of the house. And I hope you guys like that. As I said before, I'm sure you're going to let me know if it works or not. But no worries. I'll probably get rid of the blue door next spring anyway. What's a good color I should try? What do you guys think? Let me know. Drop in the comments what color door I should do for next spring. And mirrors. I keep mirrors. Can you see Nola there in the window? She's like Gladys Kravitz. Is it Gladys Kravitz? They used to sit in the window, or just nosy neighbor on Bewitched back in the day. That is so my dog. She loves sitting up front, just watching everything that goes on in the neighborhood. And no, I don't do that with her. But anywho, I'm going to let you enjoy this, and then we'll switch over to the back here in just a moment. Let's take a little tour around the garden in December to see how things are doing. Along the way, we might even spot some Christmas decorations that we've put out. And later in the video, I'm going to show a full walkthrough at nighttime with the lights on. But I want to point out a few things right now, what's looking decent in the garden. A lot of things are taking its winter rest. One of my favorite things that are still showing really great right now is some Munstead red stonecrop. Great plant for some winter hardiness, and I can't believe I still have begonias that are hanging on, even though we've had a few freezes. My favorite thing in the garden in the wintertime, honestly, is going to be potted plants with shrubs and a bit of cabbage and maybe some pansies. That's what does best here in my area, which is a zone 8A. So I'm gonna walk through. We have a ton of leaves that we're dealing with. We have cleaned up bags and bags of leaves, and they're still coming down. So I have been playing around a bit with some fun Christmas items. I do not have great windows on my house that allows me to have a window box. I actually have very low windows that go to the ground, floor to ceiling windows. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna make a faux window. I'll put one on my fence. Who does that, right? Well, I do. So there is my faux window, and I did decide this year to put some really inexpensive garland, probably the cheapest ones you could find. I picked up at Joann's Fabric. It's really thin. They were like buy one, get 3 free. And I think I needed a total of, I think they're 25 feet long. I needed a total of 9 to do the entire garden all the way around, both sides of the fence and in the back. And so I put some faux objects in my window box. I don't do faux in the summer or in the spring, but for Christmas decorating, you know, I do a little bit more of that. And so let's take a look at a few other things. You probably saw in my very first video where I did a bit of shopping. I buy lots of metal and lots of wood items so it can stay outside. I don't worry about it getting rained on, or even I don't even worry about rust. You know, I always say rust is character. Who cares if it gets a little rusty? So decorated the arch. It's white, and I did add white lights to this because honestly, I think I'm gonna leave those white lights on there year round going forward. And I did focus on buying brown wire lights because I don't want to take them off when I have parties in the summertime. I'm gonna have those lights on going forward. So I did put brown wire lights on my trees. And this is an area, you know, I've often referred to as my hot mess zone. I have started to try to finish out this area some. You'll see a lot of work in progress still. I did not have this pathway in the last video. Started putting this in just so I can have my complete circle around the entire garden. Later, I am still planning to put down most likely some type of turf because it's so muddy back here. I can't grow grass. And this is my dog's area where she uses the restroom. And she is trained to only come to this area and not go into the adult play zones. So I have some Carolina jasmine that is doing okay, hanging on. It gives me a bit of winter interest as well. And on this back row back here, a lot of red tip photinias that I planted earlier, maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. The goal is to tree farm them later and let them grow over the tree so I can have privacy back here. And I do have Japanese boxwoods on this back fence as well. There are some elephant ears that if you were following me in earlier videos, and if you're not, you should be. In my summer videos, you saw a bunch of elephant ears back here. Those have been cut back. My wind is killing my garden that has been on this back fence. But let me back up a little bit, because this is Nola's dog run area cage, so we decorated that with light and with big bows. My purple fountain grass is obviously done for the season, but you know what, I decided not to cut it back and just have fun with it and wrap some ribbon around it and keep it standing for now. If it snows, it really gives great winter interest when I do that. So that's Nola's area. This is a work in progress area we're going to be building out to make it look a lot better, coming soon, hopefully. Let's keep going this way. So my ferns are still hanging on. Those are my front porch ferns that I moved to this back planter hanger. And remember the red tips that I mentioned? This is why they call them red tips, because the new growth, when it comes in, especially when it's in the larger tree form, this is a really fast growing shrub that will eventually grow over this 5-foot fence. Really is about 5.5 foot fence. And I'm adding it again, like I said, for privacy. I can't believe I still have some imperial blue plumbago hanging on after a few freezes already. Okay, let's see. We still have no roses, obviously, this time of year right now, so not much is blooming. Lavender is still hanging on. And what's really dying and looking a little yucky right now is going to be my Turk's cap. I typically will cut those back. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's really ugly if I don't cut it back. And then I have a ton of leaves, but I still think the leaves protects it at the base by leaving it there and acting as mulch. So I may cut it back, I may not. Haven't decided, just depends on how I feel. But this tree I added brown wire lights to as well. So it's really pretty when it lights up at night. And I'm not gonna do much to this bed. I did add, I think about 75 or 80 bulbs down this bed. I'll show that in another video a little bit later. So that I'll have some spring daffodils, I think some allium that I added as well. So lots of Turk's cap here. And you guys know I like hanging things in the tree. Don't know why. No rhyme or reason, I just do. So I talked about this in the actual first video that I did. And there's my little reindeer that I picked up in the first video. And also that big metal bow that I picked up. I had no idea what to do with it. It's pretty large and just decided to hang it on the back fence. So like I said, a lot of things are asleep. Oh, and let me show you some really ugly right now. So I always talk about the purple heart plant. It is really easy to propagate, but it's also can be invasive. And so I usually have to pull all this back. It's so ugly when it dies back in the winter time. It feels really wet and yucky. Like you can see where some of it is still pretty healthy underneath there, but it's one of those things that I just wish I could get rid of and probably wish I'd never grown before. Also, look what it did really to the shrub here. I think the roots have just taken over so much that that one shrub didn't make it. Possibly it didn't get enough irrigation as well. So I dig this out every year, and I have actually some other plants underneath it that you can't even see, can't even get to. So that's another job that I'll be cleaning up here on a warm day this winter. Let's go this way. The wisteria is turning really pretty. This is an Amethyst Falls wisteria. This time of year it turns a golden shade, and those leaves eventually all will drop off. But it's really interesting to see how contorted it is underneath those leaves as it binds and twists around the arch there. And I want to make sure that that arch is stable enough, you know, as it gets older. It does get thicker, you know, as well. So right now it's holding up pretty good. And so the ligustrum, oh my goodness, you know, this is my favorite thing in the garden because of the color. Here we are in late November going into December, and I've had 2 really cold nights so far this year with freezing temperatures. We've had a lot of cold nights, but just below freezing. And they're not bothered at all whatsoever. They look beautiful and golden on this sunny day. And oh my goodness, when they light up at night, they are so pretty. I found some really cool net lights that are 20 feet long and 13 feet wide. So they drop all the way to the ground on both sides. This is a really wide, pretty big shrub here. And so it has these different modes of lighting that I can use with remote controls. And again, I never talk about these ligustums over here. I forget about them. But they're going to get lights added to them a little bit later. I have some in the mail on the way. But let's cut back through here. I found these cute little metal poinsettias that have stakes in them. I just popped them in different planters. And I think in video 1, you saw where I hung up the Merry Christmas sign that we picked up from Hobby Lobby and added some lights and more of the metal picks. I'll call them planter picks. And had a lot of wind come through and knock some things over. So let's pick up a few things. And I tie ribbon on my chairs, not necessarily because I'm trying to decorate the chairs, but typically it's a brown ribbon or something, or beige that blends in, because I bought the wrong size pillow cushions. And these are for really tall chairs, and my chairs are a lot shorter, so they flop over. So I just tie ribbons on them and sit. And the lamb's ear is looking really good. Normally it dies off a little faster when it gets below freezing, but they look healthier than ever. These were 3 small lamb's ears that I planted at the beginning of the year in the spring. I'm definitely going to be dividing those up and moving those down in a different area to just spread them out some. Now at night, the ligustrum really lights up in the courtyard on this side, gives off some really beautiful light. And I mentioned, if you looked at my first video, I picked up these really inexpensive cans. I said that I was going to drill holes in the bottom of them and add some type of succulents or plants. I still plan to do that, just haven't done it yet. So I'm just tucking them in here where I did have a crepe myrtle tree, and I had some other plants that were underneath it that have all died back right now. So I haven't planted anything else in there, just filled in the gaps for the moment. I never really mentioned these metal things in my yard. I have 4 of them. They're actually tiki torches. I bought them online, I want to say at Wayfair, over, oh my goodness, maybe almost 10 years ago. And I filled the bottom of them with sand, and it just holds the torch. You fill it with fuel and you light those. Really pretty and helps control mosquitoes. This, oh, by the way, is just a candle holder that is laying there until I do something else with it. My daughter gave those to me. I can put little candles in it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. More of the purple fountain grass that has died back. Sometimes it's considered a perennial. I usually dig it up and throw it away. This year, or for next year, I'm going to test it and see if it comes back. If I get too impatient, I'll dig it out. But for right now, I'm leaving it for winter interest. Even though it's died back, I still think it's pretty. And I just put the ribbon around it to keep it erect. And I added some floral Christmas picks in there. And I planted it up with some purple cabbage. And just threw some pine cones in to fill in some of the gaps. And I have a few of the bags that I mentioned in video 1, where those bags are nothing more than gift bags. And so I actually have some potted plants in there that I was trying to protect from the freeze, a couple of freeze nights. I didn't do anything else with them other than just wrap those up, and the pots, that is. I do have some on the back porch. Let me walk over there real quick. That I was trying to decide, what am I going to do with these bags? Well, I have pillows that usually are sitting here. Well, I put the pillows inside. So these are gift bags filled with pillows, just to fill them out some. And that's all that is. Oh, and then this was my Halloween find, marked down for, I think, less than $2. Well, you just turn it around and there you go. Now they're Christmas. Gotta save a buck. All right, so mums, I haven't deadheaded. I have not planted them in the ground. I don't know if I want to plant those in the ground, so I'm just letting those hang on. And let's see, I use more of the bags that I brought out, and I like wrapping boxes, just empty boxes, and using them around. I've done this for years. And if it gets wet, so what? It's just paper in a box. You throw it away. And so I have planters, some clay pots in here with some succulents, just protecting those. They're a little bit more tender. And I'm gonna leave those there. Once again, hanging things in the tree for no rhyme or reason. So I had some black and white that I actually already had in a bedroom that I did a black and white theme in last year. No longer doing that, so I just moved some of those items out here. Just little picks that you buy in the Christmas section. And the carex grass is hanging on, looking really great. I'm so glad I planted that because when the lamb's ear dies back, it would be very bare out here. So that's why I added the carex. I still have foxtail ferns that are growing. Those were really tiny. And I really wanted to wrap my crepe myrtle trees. Now, when they say multi-trunk, I have seriously a lot of trunks on this crepe myrtle. Most people keep theirs to about 3, which is probably smart, but I did this intentionally, as I've mentioned in previous videos, because I wanted them to grow as natural and wild and tall and bushy as they possibly could, because I needed the privacy, because I live on a main street. Now that the leaves are all gone, you can see through my backyard a little bit more, and so that's why I leave them growing. Now, the downside of that, trying to wrap each of these individual trunks was just not going to happen. I wanted so bad to do that because I thought it would be beautiful. I bought brown wire thinking I'd leave them up so I would have that beautiful lighted limb per limb, you know, all summer long. It's just way too expensive to do that. So what I ended up doing was just wrapping the 2 trunks on the live oak tree, and instead we only wrapped a few of the inner trunks. If I can get down off in there, you can see that. So at night, it just looks like a ball of light that is popping up out of the actual tree itself. And the same thing over here. So that one has some lights that are just dropped off in the center. And then I have a 3rd tree over there that I need to do the same thing with. I haven't done that one yet. In the first video, I had more of the really inexpensive bags that are gift bags. Well, I had a couple of shrubs that I never got a chance to put in the ground, and they were still sitting in the original plant plastic container. I just dropped them inside the bags until they'll probably stay there, to be honest, until I don't know, maybe the spring. And so then I added some winter Christmas picks inside the bag and just tuck one on each side of this arch here. And we added a little bit more of that black and white theme to go with the seating area with the black and white, and a little red bow. And Jordan decided, hey, grandmother, let's put some brown wire lights on this. We can then leave it up from now on year round as well. So I do have 2 more arches up there that we'll be lighting with that same brown wire. And using LED lights, we can hook up as many as we want without worrying about overloading too much. And so that's it. That's the daytime look. Just pan around a little bit, and then I will count to 3, and you will see what everything looks like when it's lit up on 1, 2, 3. Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. Let's take a look at the night view as we stroll through the garden together. Now, I'm going to sit back, let you listen to a little music while you enjoy the lights. Be sure to hit that like button, as well as subscribe if you're new to my channel. And I really appreciate your feedback. You give great comments. Thank you guys, especially those that have been sticking through this with me for a while now. We have lots of new videos coming up soon. We'll continue to work in the garden. Even though it's winter, we have some fun projects coming our way. So in the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy the last part of this section. I'm just going to run through the garden one last time and show you how everything is lit up. It's been a pleasure making this video, and I look forward to bringing more to you soon. Thank you so much. And remember, planting life matters.